If you think bold ideas are righteous, unique perspectives are gospel, and strong opinions are sacred, then we say hallelujah. This is Non Sequitur. Never follow. The Non Sequitur podcast is produced by Booleaninator, and is recorded from the live stream on YouTube, Monday through Friday, at 8 p.m. Eastern, unless otherwise indicated. Make sure you never miss a live stream by visiting www.nonsexshow.com/schedule. That's NONSEQ show.com. To get the latest news, polls and random photos throughout the day, follow us on Twitter at nonsexshow or facebook.com/nonsexshow. If you'd like to get exclusive content, bi-weekly private hangouts with Kyle and Steve, early podcast releases and much more, consider becoming a Patreon saint of Non Sequitur. It ensures we continue to improve our show and brings you into the process at the same time. Visit patreon.com/nonsequitur for more information. And now, here are your hosts, Kyle Curtis and Steve McRae.
To go live like we are right now to say something that's going to make me laugh and screw up my whole introduction that I had. Leave it to KC. Hello, everybody.
You're welcome.
Welcome to Non Sequitur. I'm Kyle Curtis. I'm joined tonight by a full house of lovely people. We've got Steve McRae, as always. Dave and Dave, actually. Tonight, we're in the back producing. We've got everybody's audio levels sounding perfect. KC, look at you. You're here.
I'm here. I'm good. I left work early just for you.
You're so great. You're so great. Well, we're glad you're here. And we also have two very special guests with us this evening. You probably recognize both of them, actually, especially Mr. Sargon of Akkad, who is with us. Welcome, sir. Thank you for coming on.
No, thank you for the invite.
Absolutely. And we'll introduce you both properly here in just a second. I'm just saying initial hellos. Britney, how are you doing? You made probably the best entrance that I've ever seen anybody on this show before. Her camera came up in the screen and she was in pose, just like just like you see on your screen. So she made quite the entrance. Welcome, Britney. It's very nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you guys. I'm stoked. Thank you.
Yeah. So we're going to get to the discussion here in just a second. Casey is going to lead that off for us. As we always do, we're going to go through what we got coming up. Just real quickly, I'm going to keep it brief tonight. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock, that's 8 Eastern, Tim O'Neill will be joining us. He runs a blog that seeks to correct the use of biases, erroneous information, and distorted pseudo-history that anti-theist atheists sometimes use in their arguments. It ranges from medieval flat earth to the myth of Jesus existing, and even the church and the Nazis. You hear that a lot sometimes too in apologetics and on the atheist side. So he runs a blog. It's thehistoryforatheist.com. He will be with us tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then on Saturday, we did this twice before. It worked out really good. So we're going to try to do the full thing this Saturday. And that is debate roulette. If you don't know what that is, what we do, you join our Discord server, and there's a special section for you to go to if you want to participate. Now, we will spin a wheel on the screen, and wherever it lands, that will be the topic for that particular round. Everybody votes in the Discord server, and then the system picks two random people, one from each side, and you come on the show and you debate each other on that topic. It's structured. You get 3 rounds of back and forth and then an open dialogue discussion. Both shows that we had last time went phenomenally well. We were expecting a dumpster fire, but we did not get it. So when that does come, it's going to be really big, but hopefully this time it will go just as smoothly. So we're going to try to get 3 rounds in on that this Saturday. That is also at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then on Sunday, we will be joined by Aaron Ra again. This will be his probably 8th appearance on the show. People have been asking about him, so we've got him back. He will be debating old Earth creationist George Lujack. So join us for that. That also is at 8 o'clock Eastern. And I think that is it, unless we're let me go to the next slide, David. Did I put Flatline in here? Yep. Okay, so I will just do this very quickly. Flatline is going to be similar to Debate Roulette, but with our Flat Earth friends. We didn't want to leave them out. This is going to be run differently. I'll explain how that is later on in the week, how that's going to work. Just the audience is going to decide if their evidence holds up or not. I kind of have a feeling how that's going to go, but nonetheless, we will give them a shot. So that will be Sunday, June 24th. Okay, I think that's the quickest I've ever been through those. And now I'm going to turn it over to KC, who is going to introduce the topic for this evening and get more in depth.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to thank both of you guys for coming on the show today. I've had the pleasure of having conversations with both of you, and I think you're both great conversationalists. We don't necessarily agree on all things, and I know you guys individually don't agree with each other on all the things, but I really respect people who can have productive and civil conversations with each other about things that they so starkly contrast about. So today we're going to be talking about social justice and intersectionality. They're two really broad topics. Like Britney was talking about before the show, we're barely even going to get to scratch the surface of some of this stuff. But let's just kick it off with a little summary of what these things are. So social justice issues are divided into two pretty broad categories: intersocial treatment, so basically how we treat each other, and unequal government regulation, which is how the government applies law to people. So intersocial treatment can be based on a variety of factors: race, gender, age, sexual orientation, economic background, education, all kinds of different things, mental, physical abilities, things like that. Unequal government regulation, that category kind of deals with how the government uses these factors to create conditions that obstruct, limit, or deny groups access to the same opportunities and resources. And that's relative to the rest of society. This type of regulation can lead to intentional and unintentional social injustice. Some examples of these areas are voting laws, education, policing, environmental laws, healthcare regulation, and labor laws, things like that. Intersectionality is another topic that we're probably going to talk about some. This is just a framework that attempts to analyze the interconnected nature of social categories like race, gender, age, sexual orientation, etc., and how they overlap to describe interdependent systems of discrimination and disadvantages in more complex social categories, and how those are impacted through unequal government regulation. So, for example, it seeks to explain how the experiences of a gay, white, non-religious woman from a poor family differs from that of a straight Black Christian man from a middle-class family, and shows how the social and legal systems impact them or is applied to them differently. And that ideally, I mean, the idea of it is that it can better pinpoint our problem areas to help us fix them. So that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about. It's kind of hard to summarize those things down here, but I think it's important in these kind of discussions to get to an agreement on definitions. So I know that Britney was, really wanting to do that first. So why don't we start off with Britney and talking about definitions of things, so we make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I would love to. So my name is Britney Simon. Hi, I'm a full-time content creator online. I mostly help people in their alternative lifestyles. I introduce new kinks and educational things in regards to those kinks. I teach people how to do cuckolding correctly. Carl, call me. And one of the things that I want to do is talk about some of the ways. I mean, teach the room. No pressure. That was a thing. So it's one of those things where it's just a little joke. I do watch your stuff, Carl. I'm aware that you mention cucking a lot, and I just want to, as somebody who likes the kink,
I don't mention cucking a lot.
You use it as an insult. Well, use it as an insult. And so it's like one of those things where well, that's what I'm talking about. So it's just insults. True. So from my perspective, one of the things that I want to do is talk about what we have in common, because I actually think we have a lot more in common than we probably don't have in common. So we're both, just so I'm on the same page, right? Because I've never had a chance to talk to you. We're both like free speech absolutists, right? Mm-hmm. Are you an atheist? I don't know this about you.
I am an atheist.
Okay, so we're both atheists. And then you're from the UK. I'm from America. My parents are immigrants from Iraq. I'm not sure about your background in terms of any of that stuff, but I'm not sure if we have anything in common there. But I find that those two beginning factors are a pretty good start, a foundation for a really good conversation. I try very hard to look at the weirder parts of how people come to conclusions about these subjects. So intersectionality in particular is something that's very interesting to me. Kimberly Crenshaw, who came up with it in 1989, is one of my favorite thinkers. I think her ideas and concepts are solid. I think that some of the ways that younger feminists have run with her ideas are not exactly how I think she intended them from my understanding of her philosophy, and also not how I also kind of run with intersectionality. So maybe we can talk about that as a starting point, just because I think there's a lot of miscommunication with what intersectionality is. I've noticed younger people will say, I'm unapologetically intersectional. And that's not quite how that works, right? It's an understanding of systematic oppression and social interaction, but I don't think you can be apologetically a philosophy or a system that's just making comment on a system that exists. That's a weird idea to me. So starting off there, I don't identify as like, if you're not intersectional, you're not feminist. Like, again, those are two philosophies that intertwine, yes, but they can be completely separate from one another. And so for me, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page in that regard from where I'm coming from, because I don't know if you're familiar with my content or not.
I'm not familiar with the content, but I am familiar with your sphere of thought. I suppose I would need a definition from you of what you consider to be oppression.
In a systematic way, in a social way, in an individual way?
Or just however you're defining the word oppression, really.
Okay. If you would like, and if this helps, I can give you a very specific example that might help put it into perspective. My version of oppression, the efficacy of oppression can differ. I don't think oppression is inherently not authentic. Or I'm sorry.
Okay, what's the definition for oppression that you're using?
One person stopping another person from living the life they want in any capacity. I think that's pretty valid.
Okay, because that seems like a really broad definition to me, and I can think of many instances where it's completely valid for someone to stop someone else from living the life they want to live.
Exactly. So we agree on this.
Well, no. I mean, that's not the definition of oppression I use. I mean, for example.
Okay.
For example, the communists definitely don't. The communists are definitely going to make me live a life that I don't want to live, and me stopping them from doing that is me stopping them from living the life they want to live. So, correct. I don't consider my resistance to communism to be oppression of communists. So that's why I wanted to start with the definition of oppression that you're using, because I think it's important.
Okay. Yeah. Well, okay. So you really. I'm going to implore you to really just learn Britney, because if you lump me in with the left and the mainstream people that are often targeted in media, we're not going to be on the same page. So for me, oppression is needed in an efficient society, because even in a free society like America, we have those qualms, like the baker who just recently was granted by the Supreme Court the allowance to reject any art he doesn't want to display. I am on the baker's side as a queer woman, because I believe that his right as an artist trumps someone else's right as a customer. But if he had rejected the gay couple full on out, then I would say that was discrimination based off of just basic service. But an art form, it makes you different. So that, though there is oppression happening, it's the fairest, it's the fairest form of oppression a free society, I think, can have, is coming to that compromise, which is, here is the line. I think private business